Along the entire Russia-Ukraine front, a strip of land roughly 15 kilometers deep has become the deadliest ground on Earth. Nothing moves through it and survives. Not a truck, not a tank, not a single soldier on foot, without a drone finding it first. Ukraine calls it the kill zone, and in 2025 it stopped being an accident of the battlefield and became official military doctrine. A deliberate, unmanned wall of drones designed to detect and destroy anything that enters, long before it ever reaches a Ukrainian trench. This is the story of how a country running out of soldiers built a machine to hold the line without them. This operational reality begins not at the trench line, but miles behind it. The kill zone is a designated 10 to 15 kilometers wide band of territory extending directly from the forward edge of battle into the enemy's rear. Within this specific geographic corridor, any tactical signature, from the thermal heat of a soldier on foot to the dust kicked up by supply trucks or armored treads, is systematically targeted. Military analyst Taras Chmut first popularized the term to describe this environment, which has evolved from a decentralized threat into a formalized regime of movement denial. The objective is total interdiction, recognizing, tracking, and neutralizing hostile forces before they can ever establish physical contact with Ukrainian defensive positions. By projecting lethality throughout this entire depth, the system strips the attacking force of its mobility, turning the approach march into a gauntlet of survival. This geographic barrier is born of absolute demographic necessity. Facing an adversary with vast mobilization reserves and enduring a severe shortage of frontline infantry, the Ukrainian military cannot rely on traditional manpower density to hold terrain. Instead, defensive planning has shifted toward replacing physical soldiers with machine density. On February 9, 2025, Defense Minister Rustem Umerov formalized this strategic direction under the Drone Line project. Umerov's goal is to fuse frontline infantry with unmanned aerial systems into a cohesive strike network. By deploying thousands of tactical platforms, a small team of operators can monitor and defend sectors that once required entire battalions. This policy treats unmanned technology as a primary force multiplier, substituting hardware for human presence to ensure that a smaller defensive force can successfully secure the ground. The doctrine accepts high rates of machine loss to protect limited human reserves. This strategic pivot was formalized on February 9, 2025, when President Volodymyr Zelensky and Defense Minister Rustem Umerov announced the Drone Line initiative. It built upon the Unmanned Systems Forces, established in June 2024 as the world's first military branch dedicated to air, sea, and ground robotic systems. To scale this doctrine, an initial 4.6 billion hryvnia state package was backed by heavy Dutch support, pushing total funding to $880 million. The effort unified 5 of Ukraine's deadliest drone formations under a single command: the 20th K2 Regiment, the 414th Magyars Birds, the 427th Ryrog, the 429th Achilles, and the Phoenix Regiment of the State Border Guard. In June 2025, Robert Magyar Brovdi took overall command of the branch. Domestic factories now manufacture 95% of all deployed platforms, fueling a combat tempo that exceeds 100,000 sorties every month. The automated defensive wall functions as a continuous, algorithmic sensor-to-shooter loop. The system relies on a tightly integrated sequence of layered capabilities designed to shrink detection-to-strike times to mere minutes. At the outermost layer, tactical reconnaissance drones maintain constant aerial surveillance, identifying military signatures the moment they cross into the 15-kilometer zone. Once detected, target coordinates route instantly to first-person view strike drone teams for immediate, low-altitude interception. Operational data shows that from the moment a target crosses this perimeter, the entire process, from initial detection to kinetic impact, often takes less than 5 minutes. To sustain this pressure through darkness, heavy bomber drones equipped with thermal optics target fortified enemy positions and static infantry shelters overnight. Protecting these friendly assets is a dedicated electronic warfare layer. These specialized units actively suppress hostile radio frequencies, denying Russian electronic surveillance while securing clean, interference-free communication channels for Ukrainian pilots. This entire network functions as a highly compressed loop of observation and destruction. By linking real-time aerial intelligence with distributed strike platforms, the system ensures that any hostile asset entering the kill zone is neutralized before it can ever engage Ukrainian ground forces. Instead of vulnerable radio signals, Ukrainian engineers bypassed electronic jamming by physically tethering drones with hair-thin fiber-optic cables. These glass filament lines, unspooling from the aircraft, transmit pilot inputs and video feeds with zero electromagnetic emissions. Without a wireless signal to block, traditional jamming units are useless. Domestic factories scaled this technology quickly, certifying more than 20 fiber-optic drone models from 11 Ukrainian manufacturers, with some platforms carrying spools reaching up to 40 kilometers. This unjammable precision has forced a complete collapse of traditional military mobility near the front. Standard logistics trucks have vanished from the 15-kilometer zone. Ground supply runs now wait for the cover of heavy rain, snow, or dense fog when aerial cameras are blinded. The few armored vehicles that risk the roads are covered in heavy metal cages, protective spikes, and improvised mesh armor. Troops have constructed overhead netting tunnels to shield entire road segments. This creates a stark tactical irony. An advanced drone war fought with high-tech glass fibers contested beneath crude canopies of chicken wire. Yet, even under these steel cages, any movement remains a lethal gamble. Deep inside this exclusion zone, human presence has retreated entirely beneath the earth. Soldiers live in heavily camouflaged bunkers, accompanied by the constant, high-pitched whine of drone rotors overhead. On the surface, machines have assumed the burden of survival. Unmanned ground vehicles now execute up to 90% of frontline logistics for some units, transporting ammunition and food across exposed terrain where no soldier can safely step. These rugged platforms also serve as medical evacuation systems, hauling wounded troops out of active fire zones, while armed ground robots patrol the empty roads. This automated lifeline was the only connection to the surface for Oleksandr Alexeyenko and Oleksandr Tishayev. Trapped in a subterranean outpost near Orikhiv, the two men held their position for 165 days without rotation. 30 separate rescue attempts failed under constant aerial surveillance. On October 28, 2025, a thick, heavy fog rolled across Zaporizhia, blinding the cameras overhead and allowing a rescue team to extract them. Military estimates indicate that drones now cause 80 to 90% of all combat casualties along the front. During a single winter, drone line units took an estimated 30,000 Russian soldiers out of action, accounting for 1 in 4 of all Russian losses, a figure that rose to 1 in 3 by early 2026. This lethality is expanding outward. The initial 5 to 10 kilometer kill zone has matured into the standard 15-kilometer corridor and is now pushing toward 40 to 50 kilometers using new mid-range strike platforms. To manage this expansion, the Deep Strike Command Center, established in early 2026, coordinates precision attacks targeting logistics hubs 150 to 300 kilometers behind the lines. This dynamic barrier echoes the lethal stalemate of the First World War, yet it replaces static barbed wire and minefields with a hunting form of area denial. Fiber-optic drones act as mobile, steering mines that actively seek targets, forcing Russian infantry to march kilometers to the front, arriving exhausted and exposed. The strategic efficiency is drawing intense global scrutiny. During a Swedish NATO exercise, a team of 10 Ukrainian operators reportedly disabled 2 simulated battalions in a single day, prompting Western militaries to study Ukraine as a senior partner in modern doctrine. In response, Russia established its own dedicated unmanned systems branch in late 2025. As machines hold the line, they raise profound questions of algorithmic autonomy and signal a future where the human frontline is completely obsolete. Ukraine's automated wall is no longer an experiment. It is a global blueprint. As algorithms replace soldiers in the kill zone, the human frontline is actively dissolving. What began as survival has permanently redefined modern warfare. Subscribe for more in-depth military analysis.